Wolf Pack, what's going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Roto Street, RotoStreetJournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves. Here, your Week 6 rankings rundown. We are now 5 games in. That means nobody is sitting at 500. You're either above or below, but it's not time to panic or celebrate quite yet. Plenty of time left to get caught up, even an extra game this year, given the longer season. So if you're 1-4, 0-5 is getting pretty ugly. But even then, you still have a shot if you can get on a massive run. Meanwhile, whether you're 4-1, 5-0, doesn't matter. You cannot get complacent. Wins still matter each and every week, and especially now with the bye weeks here. So this is going to be an intense show in that sense that we have a smaller player pool, lots of people on bye with the 49ers, the Falcons, and off the top of my head, I can't remember the other teams. But those were the two that popped into mind. Remind me what the other teams are on bye as we go through. That's going to be all that much important. You got to know who I'm higher, lower on, and willing to take a Hail Mary on. Let me pull in these rankings right away, as always, starting with the QB. And as you guys come in here, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up button, giving it a share, giving it a retweet, getting on more people in here, that would mean the world. And also getting those questions on in, because I will answer everything we get at the end of the show. It takes us about 35 minutes or so to get through all these rankings. I try to touch on every player as quick as I can, and then we will get to all your questions. Let's start at the top. You can't really have anybody other than Josh Allen at this point. The guy is going completely berserk. If you want to just quickly see these game logs, 31, 37, 21, 37, so nearly 40 points in 2 of his last 3 starts. Gets Tennessee, not a scary defense by any means, 10th most points allowed. 2 quarterbacks, pathetic defense. He'll steamroll them. Pat Mahomes. Washington's getting destroyed and getting especially destroyed deep. You know Mahomes is going to be especially motivated. After a couple kind of duds, I thought about even putting Mahomes at number 1. 25, 32, 21 across his last 3. Obviously, the 32-point game was glorious and beautiful. That Buffalo defense is the real deal, though, so I'm not holding that against him. Washington's giving up the 2nd most points to QBs. Who's giving up number 1? Well, that is the Chiefs. That game's going to be a shootout bonanza. But especially, again, Washington so susceptible deep into the big plays. I think Mahomes is going to kill them. I'm questioning whether I should switch up Josh Allen and Mahomes. If I'm playing DFS and I want to pay up at QB, Mahomes is my locked-in no-brainer there. Kyler Murray, what was going on last week at San Fran? Is this a matter of Kyle Shanahan just having his buddy figured out over there? Cliff Kingsbury, maybe. But even before that, 20 and 23 after going back-to-back 35-point days, back-to-back QB1 performances, it's sketchy. It's scary. I don't know what's going on there. But ultimately, I don't like it. Don't like it at all. I'm going to be pumping in my microphone. Switching that up. I just realized the audio wasn't in. So if this gets loud, all of a sudden, forgive me, just turn your volume back down. But now it should be all set with the microphone there. Let me know if that sounds better or worse for you guys. Tom Brady, though, number 4, 5 touchdowns in multiple games so far this year. It's crazy what he's doing. Absolutely crazy. Mr. Brady. There's not much else to say. Philly, Thursday night, not a great secondary by any means. They are giving up Philadelphia 21st, so middle of the pack. But you look at that, they've faced garbage QBs for the most part. Any decent QBs have bombed them. So I'm not worried about that. It's tough to have Lamar down here all the way at 5, given the way he's playing. Over 440 yards last week, over 500 total yards of offense, 42 fantasy points. How is he not the number 1 QB? Who the hell had more than 42? Oh, Tommy Brady. That's right. Monstrous performance all around from Lamar Jackson. And gets the Chargers going to need their points. The only risk here is the Chargers have allowed the 6th fewest points to QBs. They're certainly beatable. It's not like it's an impossible to beat secondary, but I think Lamar is going to have a much tougher sledding than the Colts just did, banged up secondary. But they're going to need points. Justin Herbert is getting on an absolute tear right now, so I'm a big fan. Jalen Hurts against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is giving up the 6th most points to QBs. And this guy has gotten over 20 fantasy points every week except last week, and I still think he had 18? Oh, no, never mind. He had 24 by the end of it because he ran in for 2 scores. That's right. Legitimately, he looked horrible all game, and he still put up his 3rd most fantasy points of the season. Hasn't been outside the top 10 in QBs. He's the only QB to have that on his record this year. Only player in fantasy to be top 10 every single week. Unbelievable consistency. That's the only reason I have him above Justin Herbert, despite that monstrous game, despite them going to be a probable shootout here
with Baltimore. Something in my gut tells me that game, as much as it looks like a shootout on paper, might not be as crazy as we all expect. So you had your tier 1 QBs. These guys are right on that fringe. Like, this is, if I could make it tier 1.5, it seriously would be. Dak Prescott should have no problem. Davis Mills threw 3 touchdowns against New England. There's nothing scary about this secondary. Dak Prescott should have a field day. The only risk there is the Pats just get destroyed and they take the air out of the ball. And then Matt Stafford against the Giants, another guy that should have no problem. The 9th most points allowed to signal callers. That Giant secondary is no good. Bradbury seems to have taken a big step backwards. Now tier 3, and this is where things get interesting. As you can see, I'm mostly in lockstep with the ECR above there. I got Taylor Heineke, though, a nice 2 above the ECR, facing Kansas City, as we said, the most points allowed to quarterbacks so far this year. So I'm a huge fan of streaming this guy in. Aaron Rodgers right below him. I really play Heineke over Rodgers. I know that seems crazy, but Heineke's had over 20 fantasy points in 3 of his 4 starts, been top 12 in all 3 of those. Had a little bit of a dud against the Saints, but right back on track here with them. Aaron Rodgers at Chicago. Chicago's actually been pretty stifling against QBs so far this year, giving up the 5th fewest points to the position. But it's Rodgers. It's a division game. Adams should have no problem getting through the secondary. I think the Bears more so just their style of play, slowing things down. The Packers do play at a slow pace as well, so could get a little bit ugly. You might want to consider maybe going Burrow over him. I might actually switch that ranking myself as we go here. Detroit's been like weirdly good against quarterbacks, 22nd ranked against QB points allowed. So bottom half of the NFL in terms of allowing points, not that generous. But that's just because they suck so bad and you just bleed them on the ground, the 2nd most running back points. Mixon should have a field day, assuming he's healthy. Burrow, though, he should have no problem beating the secondary. They're the worst graded unit by PFF. Just a matter of teams not needing to throw that much. Darnold had a bust of a week, but still, you look at these game logs, I think he could rebound big, 20, 25, 34. He's been solid in his last, 3 of his last 4 starts. It is scary to see those picks, and Minnesota's been kind of getting it together on defense here. You might want to consider Kirk Cousins. It does seem to drop off a bit here after Burrow. That might be another tier drop here to bump these guys in with, like, let's say, Kirk Cousins again, steady, but he had a great first few weeks, 11-14 since those first 3 weeks. I do think Carolina could be a get-right spot, but they also are allowing, where are they now? They gave up a ton of points last week, so 19th now. So they've slowly climbed up after facing crap the first few weeks. In terms of points allowed, I do think there's nothing scary about them until Gilmore gets there. So I can see that being a nice day. Trevor Lawrence, though, rushing touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. Yeah, the 6 to 8 interception ratio. This is like your high-end QB2s, in my opinion. As you can see, it's a pretty deep tier. I like Trevor Lawrence. So Miami has been getting destroyed. 6 most points to QBs. Brady's through 5. I get it. It's Lawrence, not Brady. But London game, Jaguars always show up. Blake Bortles, if only he was still back there, our London god. Derek Carr. So I do like the rushing upside, the fact that he's kind of getting into his element here, slinging it with more regularity. Derek Carr, Denver, tough secondary, the 2nd fewest points allowed. And he's the last 2 weeks, not nearly as, 8-15. I think I'm going to bump him down actually a little bit below maybe. If you look at the other options though, right? It's like, really? Like below Bridgewater? Probably, actually, the way Bridgewater has been attempting the most deep attempts per game. The Raiders have been 25th. I mean, they're actually pretty, and they're in the red zone in a bad way in terms of points allowed to QBs. So, that game just seems ugly. Carson Wentz against Houston. Maybe I need to give him more love. I'm already +2 ECR. I think he could be a really viable QB streamer. Houston, extremely generous to quarterbacks. You don't need me to sell you on that. Plus, you might get T.Y. Hilton back and just in time because Hilton always destroys that pathetic Houston secondary. Goff, Cincy, they're going to need points. They're going to be chasing 20th, middle of the pack there, Cincy in terms of allowed. Justin Fields is like, hey, I'm -2 ECR, but has he had over 15 fantasy points in a single start yet? No. 7, 5, 4, 8, 9. He hasn't even had 10. Why are we sitting here talking about how much upside this guy has? I know I was leading that bandwagon early in the preseason, but until Nagy gets with the picture and starts to run this guy with regularity, they're going to need points against Green Bay. I think that's not even going to play into his favor. He'll be better with the lead when he's running all over the field. But I'm also very down on Tannehill. We just saw Buffalo, fewest points allowed to QBs, hold Mahomes to only 20 points. And that, 20 points, you'd be happy with that from Tannehill. He hasn't done that all year. Bad. 15, 15, 13, 19, 14. Ew. 14 against Jacksonville with A.J. Brown back? No, thank you. I'm all set on that one. And then Daniel Jones, who, as long as he's cleared, I'll bump up. Yes, the Rams, pretty good secondary. Except after Jalen Ramsey, they really haven't been all that great. They've got up 294 pass yards per game. That's right around top 10. That's top 10 in points allowed. So their number one receiver might get shut down, but the rest of that defense has not been great against the pass. And then you're looking at, like, come on, you really need this? I actually might bump Geno Smith up a little bit. He looked pretty good. Pittsburgh's been giving up a generous amount of points so far this year. I think Geno, I'd rather stream, given that he has some Konami upside above these guys. So that's quarterbacks there for you guys. Let me know again what quarterback questions you have coming into this week. And again, those thumbs up help us get out to more people. So like, share, retweet all this good stuff. It would be extremely appreciated. Let's continue on, Wolfpack. Derrick Henry. And this show, I don't know. And the Wednesday show hasn't been our best performing. So this one might be cut in future weeks, just as a heads up, guys. Just to kind of get a midday break from the stream, midweek, rather. But Derrick Henry, top dog. I'm not worried about Buffalo being the fewest points allowed. That doesn't matter to me against Derrick Henry. It doesn't really matter. He's running back proof. Matchup proof, rather. And then you got Austin Eckler, my number 2 guy, number 2 running back in fantasy so far. And ball at the stripe, receiving. You don't need me to spell that one out. Christian McCaffrey, 50-50 to play. As long as he's in there, he's locked in. The Vikings have been getting a little bit better against running backs, but they're not great. In terms of points allowed, they are at, let me just double check that, 12th. So, running back 1 matchup right there. Najee Harris, Seattle's giving up the 3rd most points. And now that you got Juju out, more targets coming his way, smash play. Easy +2 for me. Zeke Elliott, it's not that I don't like him. -2 ECR. It's just that there's other guys I like more than him. But he should have a field day. New England isn't stopping anybody at any position. 21st against the run. They're better, I guess, against the run than the pass, but they don't look good. He should run all over them. I do have Jonathan Taylor a little bit lower than ECR as well, as you guys can see. -2. It's just more so I like the guys above him. I have nothing against him, especially coming off his biggest day of the year. But even in there, the running back snaps, it was only like 40% for him, 35% for Hines, and then 20% for Matt. It's just still a 3-headed nightmare. I'm not into it. Aaron Jones, Chicago, they're a pretty good defense, but he should have no problem finding the end zone. He's been a little bit down. I am a little bit worried that Dylan's getting more and more involved. That's hence the -2 ECR. Then they talk about wanting to throw it to Dylan a bit more. That's concerning. I don't really get what's going on there. But we'll see. We'll see. Nick Chubb, Arizona. What's to be said? The guy's just a steamroller. It doesn't really matter who he's against. Doesn't matter that Arizona's giving up the 25th. One of the better defenses. We'll see. James Robinson against Miami. That's a smash play. I might even, if I didn't love Nick Chubb as a player so much, I would have him even higher. Miami's giving up the 2nd most points to running backs. Good morning feast for you there against London. No doubt about it. And the last 3 games, he's back to James Robinson of old, right? The snaps haven't been quite as high as last week, but let's go to PPR. He is at 25, 21, 22. That's beautiful. 4, 8, 12. Top 12 running back in 3 straight weeks. Love to see it. Love to see him back. Kansas City, Gibson, they give up tons of points to every position, including running backs. That's the actual position they're the best against, but that doesn't mean they're good at it. 11th most points. Solid. Just solid matchup for a guy that just scored 2 touchdowns. Let's not worry about the shins. Like I got nervous last week. I got a little knee-jerk reactionary. Let's not do that again. He's been playing with it all year. He is what he is at this point. Doesn't look overly explosive, but he's getting in the end zone with regularity. Should find it against Kansas City. Mix into Detroit. As long as he's fully healthy, smash, smash, smash. I'd probably have him actually at running back 7 or maybe even 6 if he's ready to go practicing in full this week. He did practice today in a limited fashion. Let's see him ramp that up. Swift against Cincy, just a great pass catching back, the best maybe in the league right now. Cincy's been decent against running backs, 18th allowed, but they have been actually pretty generous for the air. You saw A.J. Dillon have a field day against him. They should as well. Madison's obviously assuming that Dalvin Cook is out. The Panthers have allowed sneaky the lowest points to running backs, but I think that's more so the competition, less about them being a genuinely good defense. Madison would be easy RB1. Then you move into like low-end RB1s, elite RB2s. Darrell Henderson against the Giants, I absolutely love. The Giants have been generous. They have given up the 8th most points to running backs. And Henderson's just a smash. Every time he's played, he's had 16 points or more? 16, 17, 17, 17. Talk about steady. Sony's annoyingly involved a couple drives a game, but that doesn't stop Henderson from being a beast. Expect 17 to 20, per usual, the prescription for him. Kareem Hunt, I always have a hard time ranking this guy where he deserves. He's actually the RB5. He's above Nick Chubb in fantasy so far this year. Coming off yet another massive day. He's still so involved with the stripe, which is weird because at the end of last year, that role went all the way to Nick Chubb, but now he has more touchdowns than Nick Chubb. 28, 17, 26. A top 2, 17, 7 running back. I mean, this is craziness to have him that involved. And they're going to need points this week. Arizona, that's a Kareem Hunt script. Expect him to find the end zone, have another good day, locked in low end one, elite running back 2. I cannot be low on this guy multiple weeks in a row. Fournette, almost all the usage, even with Gio Bernard back. That was very encouraging to see. Bernard did catch a score, so it does cap his ceiling just a little bit. But Philly, 10th most points to running backs. Fournette, they should beat this team pretty handily, and Fournette should see plenty of work late. Then you're getting into Damian Williams. Solid spot start here this last week. 18 points or so in PPR leagues. Now the concern, 16. So nice, steady. When he's getting the volume, he's getting it done. And that's always been his motto. He's going to get the volume again. This week, Green Bay is one of the bottom 5 rundies. But Herbert did get 18 carries to his 16. The reason I'm not overreacting to that, though, the reason I still have Williams in my top 18 guys is 11 of them came in the second half when they were leading comfortably. They're not going to lead comfortably against Green Bay. Williams got all the backfield targets. So I'm a big fan of him. Got to change these banners. Almost missed that. And then we move into the mid-range RB2s, flexes at best. So that's how running back always is. It's mostly RB1s and then bam, drop off. Josh Jacobs, though, the clear-cut guy, gets in the end zone with regularity. I think he did last week. Yep. So every time he starts, he's getting in there. He's okay. He's just steady. Steady. Denver's been the second fewest points allowed, but Jacob's still a good bet to do solid. I think this could be Javonte Williams' coming out party. Every single week, he looks so good, and I haven't been yes, this is going to be the week. The Raiders, though, have given up a touchdown to running back every single week. And Williams is breaking tackles like a monster. I love him. I think he's breaking out this week. I'm going to put him in all the lineups where I own him. Zach Moss, Tennessee. Tennessee's not a good defense. Zach Moss, over 70% of the snaps this last week. And look at that. 15, 18, 12, 12, just steady. Not sexy, but steady. I like it. Daryl Williams, Washington, the mentor takes over, baby. Washington is better against the run than the pass, but still the 14th most points allowed. I like Daryl Williams to find the end zone and be the lead horse here. McKinnon will sprinkle in, but this is Daryl Williams' show now. What's this little nugget on him? Probably just that he's the lead back. But let me just make sure there's no news I missed. Yeah, just his performance. So, but yeah, I think he'll have a nice day there for sure. I like Gaskin. He looked 31 points this last week. Was the RB2? Yeah, 32. 10 targets, 10 receptions. The rub is, look at last week before that. 2 carries, 3 yards, 0. What do we make of this? Jacksonville's certainly a spot to keep the good times rolling. 5th most points allowed to backs. So that's why I have him as high as I do. But I can get why you'd be concerned. Devonte Booker, anytime he is seen, I tweeted this out. 12 or more carries, averages nearly 16 fantasy points per game. That'd be the running back 15 this year. Gets a Rams defense that's pretty good. We just saw him stuff Alex Collins all night when we wanted to stream him. But 17th in the middle of the pack. Yes, Aaron Donald, of course, is terrifying, but the rest of that D can be exposed. And he's got all the running back targets, all the goal line carries, 19 touches, all 19 touches after Saquon went out. He'll be the horse. So get him in there. I trust him over Carson. As good as Carson is, Pittsburgh, 4th fewest points allowed to backs. Carson, the neck injury that could flare up at any point. He makes me nervous. Assumed he's going to play. He didn't practice today, but they're saying he'll be back tomorrow. So we'll see. If he's out, Collins would rank, maybe right here above Gordon, similar play, in my opinion. Damien Harris against Dallas. Dallas is actually a pretty good run D this year. The 26th in terms of running back points allowed. And Harris banged up, not into that. And the script, the Pats, we've seen it before this year. When it's going to be against against the Saints, they just completely abandon the run. Look at Harris's outputs. And even when the game flow has been right, it hasn't been that good. Yeah, look at that. 3-5, like New Orleans and Tampa Bay, completely abandoned. I think this is a game they completely abandoned it. And even when they haven't, like the ceiling hasn't been that great. So -6 ECR is very easy for me. Chase Edmonds, -3 ECR, a little bit lower on him, just back-to-back duds. Connor getting all the goal line work. We knew it would happen, or I guess really one dud. I forgot that 120 was 2 weeks ago. But it's concerning. It's definitely concerning. Rondelle Moore getting more involved is going to eat into that target share. I'm not a fan. And then you're getting into okay, last possible starters. Pollard, I think they're going to get up big against us in Pollard. He's seen, 10 carries every single week the last 4? 13, 11, 10, 14. Yeah, so, getting nice usage, doing okay with it just because he's so damn explosive. Also seeing 18 opportunities last week's no joke in this offense. So if he does that again against New England, 28 is going to be too low. Connor, finding ever since I hate cut him, 5 touchdowns in 3 weeks. Oh, motivated, clearly. You guys are welcome. Those of you that own Connor, since I cut him, that hate cut, very fired up. Murray, just bleh, gross backfield. Nothing I really need. McKissick, I'm a little higher on because I think it's going to be a shootout game. That's a McKissick type of script. It's very big risk. You saw 1 point last week, 2? Oh, good. But then 17 and 20 sandwich in between there. I think this is more of one of those types of narratives. Against the Chiefs. Then you're getting into Williams and Miles Sanders. As you can see, I'm clearly down on him, would have him on my bench if possible. He saw a lot more work last week, so you can feel a little better about it. And we did see Gaskin destroy Tampa Bay through the air, having a top number 2 running back week against him. So they can be had that way, but that's not how they use Miles Sanders. That's how they use Gainwell. So if anything, I think it might be more of a Gainwell week. Hines, ew. Dillon, I'm intrigued by it. I've seen him dropped in some leagues. Go out and get Dillon. And then you're getting to please don't. I'm desperate in one league. I'm starting Bernard, hoping he falls his ass in the end zone. But if you're in this range, you're in some trouble. Hopefully you can find, Booker or Williams would have been the stream. If you're this desperate, you should have been banking a ton of money on them. Keep an eye, though, on Ramondre Stevenson. He could end up being a very viable stream if Harris is banged up or missing time. All righty, let me move the banner. Keep those questions coming in, guys. We are about halfway through the show. Got about 20 questions in there. I'd love to see it. Let's get that number up. I want this show to continue on Wednesdays. Need the engagement up there. Thumbs up helps us out. Shares help us out. Continue to do that for us, please. Let's get into wide receivers. Yes, Tyreek Hill, big dud last week, but as I've already talked about, Washington, so susceptible to big play. This seems to me that it's going to be one of those 40 points. What was it, 2 weeks ago? Tyreek Hill had 40-something, 48, 37. This is going to be one of those weeks, smashing him into all my DK lineups. Why is it a 3-star matchup rating? Somebody please explain that one to me. Washington is pathetic against deep play receivers. This is the perfect matchup. I don't know why it says 3 stars, but he's a 4-star, 5-star, whatever the most stars are. 25 stars. I don't care. Devontae Adams, though, number 2, always. It's Adams. He's going to see 15 targets. He's going to be fine with him. Always fine to amazing, I should say. Fine is his floor. Good is his floor. Look at his PPR points. Double digits every week. 38, 31, mixing those 30-point days in with regularity. Beautiful stuff. Diggs, the ultimate buy low, in my opinion. Titans giving up the most points to wide receivers. Get in this week if you can. Other than last week, he's seen 25 or more % target share. Last week was his worst game. If you can get Diggs now, go get him ASAP. Cooper Kupp, just a stud. Nothing about, even his worst week, he had 16 points. Number 1 receiver in fantasy for a reason. Justin Jefferson, Carolina, not too worried that they're giving up the 5th fewest points to wide receivers. It's not a good secondary. They just haven't faced good receivers. Terry McLaurin in that shootout game. Love. DK stacking him. Tyreek. DK Metcalf. Speaking of DK, let's talk about DraftKings, but DK Metcalf, also a beautiful play. This week, Pittsburgh is giving up the 3rd most points to wide receivers. He scored with Geno Smith. I'm not worried about the QB change. Always all in on Mike Williams. So +4 on DK, clearly high with him. Clearly not worried. Always higher on Mike Williams than the ECR. Baltimore's nobody's scary. Nobody's going to slow down this guy. He's a stud. He did practice today with a knee injury, but I don't expect that to be anything. Something to monitor, though, as the week goes on. Deontay Johnson, Seattle. Seattle's giving up the 6th most points to wide receivers. They just lost Juju. More targets. for a guy that, other than last week, has seen 12 or more in every full game he's played, dating back to last year. Like, target, pepper, gotta be a monster. Shower the guy. DeAndre Hopkins, just like, he's okay, but the ceiling's gone at this point. He's going to get you a nice floor, 21, 11, 5, 15, 26, like solid floor. And I guess 26 was a nice ceiling, but as you can see, top 15 is the best of the last 4 weeks outside the top 30. It's just such a spread out attack, and Kyler isn't looking nearly as explosive as those first 2 weeks. Gotta love Chase. Detroit, like, nobody there is going to be able to stop him. A little bit lower, as you can see, on DJ Moore. I'm worried that the last couple weeks aren't, I shouldn't say couple, 32 2 weeks ago, but 9 points, wide receiver 49. Darnold, he's at the risk of Darnold, and Minnesota has been getting better against the wide receivers by the week. They went from like the third most generous to now the 18th. So just be wary. Just be cautious of DJ Moore here. Keenan Allen, a little underwhelming, but still seeing tons of targets every week. Godwin, Philadelphia, they're nobody in the secondary. It is kind of a bit of a whack-a-mole there. Like, is it going to be a Brown week? Is it going to be Mike Evans? Is it going to be Godwin? Godwin's still the target leader, though, so I prefer him, even though he's the only one that was kept out of the end zone last week. Tom will probably make sure that point is rectified. Mike Evans, 2 touchdowns, still a stud. Absolute stud every week. CeeDee Lamb, did he get back together last week? I think he found the end zone, right? Yeah, 19. So a little bit of encouraging signs there, second highest points of the year, but he's looking like he was one of the more overrated players coming in. That is like, could him and Cooper still have that many big days? I think I might be a little too high on them. Probably prefer Antonio Brown at 18. Claypool, I think Marquise Brown might be a little too low. It says I'm +2 on him. And the Chargers are the second lowest points allowed. But look at these, 19, 23, 8, which should have been like 35, 19, 34. We're talking about the wide receiver 1 in fantasy if he didn't have those 3 drops. Now no Sammy Watkins, even more volume coming his way. Maybe Bateman plays this week. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But Marquise Brown is a smash play. Number 6 in fantasy points so far this year. Woods, it was great to see 14 targets. That squeaky wheel getting completely greased up. Sutton, second in the NFL in air yards. I guess I'm a little bit lower, -4 ECR, but it's nothing against him. It is a tougher matchup. Casey Hayward will be on him. Raiders give him the 4th fewest points to receivers, but he should be able to get it done. And then Lockett. I am a little more worried about Lockett than I am DK with Geno. DK, you can just kind of chuck it and let him do his thing. Lockett, you need the ball to be delivered accurately. I don't know that Geno still has that. If Geno ever had that, rather. You got the best possible matchup for Devonta Smith. Second most points allowed. He's been getting peppered. Back-to-back, 12-plus point weeks, if I'm not mistaken, 15, 19. He's looking like a target hog. 8, 10, 8, he's going to always get steady stream of like 8 to 12 looks. This week especially, they're going to need to pepper him. Brandon Cooks, I think is a great rebound spot for him. The Colts, we just saw what Hollywood Brown did to them deep. Yes, Cooks has been off the rails after starting so damn hot, 10-5. Those last couple of weeks, this is a good rebound spot. I'm into it. Indy, I think he's going to be a sneaky, like, under-owned in DraftKings. People aren't going to be starting him, and you absolutely should. Pittman, in that middle of a breakout season, looking fantastic. No reason to expect the good times to stop rolling here against Houston. They are giving up top 15. No, surprisingly, the 26th. So maybe that's just because teams destroy them and you don't have to throw against them. Oh, and he's not facing Houston. He's facing Indy, who's going to have the 8th most points to wide receivers. Into it all day. Oh, no, we were talking about Pittman. Rather, Indy's for Brandon Cooks. Sorry. Brain's a little jumbled right now. Sanders, most points allowed to wide receivers. 3 touchdowns in his last 2 weeks. He is just killing it in this offense. 26, 13, 20. Beautiful. You're getting 15-plus this week. Start him with confidence, in my opinion. Even above Adam Thielen. Disappearing act this last week. Not practicing so far this week. Kind of disappearing act back-to-back weeks. It is the regression. He's due for positive regression now to get back in the end zone given his high scoring rate. I'm not into A.J. Brown. Not this week, at least. He couldn't get it done against Jacksonville with no Julio Jones. Now you're going to tell me the Bills giving up the fewest points to wide receivers? That's where he's going to get it done? Please. Not happening this week. -9 ECR, and that's easy. That might be too high for me. T. Higgins, Detroit, -1, but the guy's going to find the end zone against Detroit. Detroit's sneaky, like 23rd, like not that bad against receivers, but they're also not that good. Again, the worst grade secondary. I don't get why they haven't allowed more fantasy points, but blow-up day could be coming this week. Marvin Jones against Miami. They have pretty good corners, yet they still get routinely destroyed in the air. 5 touchdowns they'll have last week. Marvin J, I think, is going to bounce back big. I do love Jacoby Myers. The second most pass yards allowed in the league right now, Dallas. And they're just giving up big game after big game. I get Trayvon Diggs is great, but he's not going to go in the slot. So I like Myers a lot. I do like Tony, clearly a little bit above ECR. Now, granted, I do want to make sure to make it clear that Sterling Shepard's going to play. Darius Slayton's expected to play. And Daniel Jones might not. All big risk factors against Tony. But he's also seen 30% of the targets. He's also, 80% of the yard. Like last week, 180 yards. Craziness. 14 targets. I mean, this guy's a stud. And he looks, be honest, the usage, he just looks so damn good. It'd be so hard to bench him. So much upside. Like, how could you put in Patrick or Renfro, who are steady, useful plays, but not even close to the upside of Tony? Jalen Waddle, Parker shouldn't play, and now he gets a really bad secondary in Jacksonville, giving up. I think they're actually, like, decent against pass, but they're not really 20th most. So, yeah, like, Waddle can be in your lineups if need be. Pretty disappointing, though. What was the usage like this week? I'd love to see Tua back there for him. Yeah, 6 and 5. Ugh. You hate to see that after those 13 target days. Like, what's happened to him? Come on, get him going. I guess Gaskin's going again. So that does make you a little nervous. Boyd, 2 of his 3 games with all 3 healthy have been under 5 points. I'm not into that. He's on my rosters a lot, and I'm worried. Mooney, if I'm going to bet on any of these guys for the Bears, it's Mooney. I don't want to, but he's at least had one good game, whereas Allen Robinson has been above wide receiver 40 a single week this year. 62, 49, 81, 50, nope. Almost outside the top 50 every single week. Unless he gets traded, that guy is done. Awful. I like Amon St. Brown back-to-back 13-point days. Rondelle Moore's got some upside. I do actually really like Hardman. I think I'm going to bump him up. He's coming off, his best day of the year. 17 fantasy points. Really nice output there. The wide receiver 19 and gets, we talked about this Washington D that is just getting burned time and time again. If you're really desperate, as you can see, I love Adam Humphries plus 12 ECR. Sean Jackson, I could see getting deep against the Giants. He's just like, he always does against the Giants. When he was with the Eagles, now he's with the Rams. It's 1 or 2 shots a week, but that's a good guy to bet on if you're really desperate at the position. Van Jefferson may be the same idea there. But that's it. Those are the guys I really like. I'm going to bump Humphries up, though. I'm going to bump Hardman up a little bit now that I've looked at that in some depth. And last and kind of least, tight ends. All righty, we got now we're the questions are cooking. I just tuned back in over here. Got up to 30, 40 here. Maybe this Wednesday show does need to continue on. You guys are gonna show up like that. Hell yeah. Let's get Wolf back. And now on to the tight ends. Travis Kelsey. I mean, what else needs to be said? Number 1 tight end. No weekly debate there. I do think Mandrews takes over for Darren Waller this week as my number 2 guy. I mean, 40 points this last week? And the Chargers, as good as they have been as a pass D, 42. Insanity. As good as they've been as a pass D, they're giving up the number 2 points to tight ends. 5,200 DraftKings, smash. Get Mark Andrews in. Darren Waller, though, not too far behind. It's Darren Waller. He's still seeing the most volume outside of those top 2 guys. Dawson Knox, though. I mean, the Titans are sneaky 31st in terms of points allowed to the tight end position. So they're pretty stifling. But that I don't think it matters. Not when you have Josh Allen, Dawson Knox, just a red zone beast. Like, guy's been a tight end 1 legitimately every single week. He's the number 4. Actually, he's the number 2 tight end in fantasy. Holy crap. 21 and 21 in back-to-back weeks. I have Kelsey, and I'm flexing Knox in my leagues right now. I'm just going to keep riding that gravy train, Brady. Guy like Gesicki, though, against Jacksonville, the 8th most points allowed. They're devoid of targets right now. I think this is a good rebound spot for him. All above Hawkinson. We keep chasing those 21 point, 26, 21. That's 3, 8, and 4. Like, outside the top 20 in 3 straight weeks. Let's not pretend that's not existing here. Since he's actually given up the 28th points to tight end, so 4th fewest. I think we're betting on those early 2 weeks and not recognizing that Hawkinson's not nearly the play he was looking like early on. Maybe it's banged up. Maybe he's getting doubled. I don't know. I don't care. It's not happening right now. No Fant, solid each and every week. The Raiders to tight ends, right in the middle of the pack there. Right? Raiders. Yeah, 12th. So good matchup for him. A couple busts in a row, though. I actually prefer Dalton Schultz. So Dalton will get a bump up. I need to kind of jot down some of these guys I'm talking about. So let me type them in. McCole, Humps, Dalton Schultz needs a bump in the rankings. I mean, the guy has been 25, 36, 25% target share these last few weeks. Look at that. 26, 18, 14, like great volume, steady production, clear rapport with his QB. All great stuff. Tyler Higbee against the Giants is just Higbee. Good offense, good red zone upside each and every week. I like Higbee. Somebody was telling me I hated Higbee. I don't know why. I like Higbee a lot. Hunter Henry, though, entering that top 10 conversation. Cowboys are pretty good on defense. Certainly good against the run, but 9th most points allowed to tight ends. We just saw what he did against the Texans. 13-20 across his last 2 touchdowns in back-to-back games. He's clearly separated from Jonnu at this point. He's by far the number 1 option here. And this is a good matchup. They're going to be needing points. If you're looking for a streamer, though, I love Ertz this week facing Tampa Bay. No Goddard, most likely no Goddard. He'll get peppered. Good option for you on Thursday. I also really like Ricky Seals-Jones, though, especially at 3K on DraftKings, but a tight end 1 in my rankings, only 15% rostered as of today. He's a beast. Played 99% of the snaps, ran 85% of the routes, like 5 targets, 40 yards. Not insane, but the Chiefs, pretty generous. 5th most points to tight ends. I think Seals-Jones, good streaming option. Right around there is Jared Cook. Baltimore gives up the 3rd most points to the position. Should be a good day, but they also just put up, 48 points and he had 3. So he's going to be hit or miss, as is Tunyon, a complete boomer bust. Dan Arnold, since arriving, I think this was his first career, wind under his sails, 8 targets. I mean, he's sneaky decent. And Miami's a bad defense. 14th in terms of tight end points, but they're bad. Mo Alley Cox I'm very interested in. Houston giving up the 4th most points to tight ends. Mo Alley Cox has been involved in back-to-back weeks. This is a good bet to find the end zone this week. I think they've given up the most touchdowns to the position. Yeah, 19 and 8. So pretty good production from him. Tyler Conklin, Evan Ingram after him. But I do, Arnold, Alley Cox, and especially Ricky Seals-Jones as flyers. And then you're getting into the range. I'm not buying Njoku. Huge game, but I don't trust anyone in the passing game. Never mind a guy that had 1 point every other game this week. Not into that. Maybe Tremble is a stream, or a stash at least. Nah, we're in the range where we don't need to really talk about these guys. So let's continue on. Let's just play Ricky Seals-Jones if you're in that desperation range. And into the defense and kickers. Rams against the Giants, especially if Mike Glennon's playing, easy number 1 in the tier by himself. Bills, though, I mean, they've got 17 points against the Chiefs last week. 23. So 22-7, 23-17. They're a great defense. And Tennessee's not that good of an offense this year. Even if they're fully healthy, they haven't been good. Easy number 2 for me. Colts, though, right after him. Number 3, facing Houston, facing the neck. Go get them. Dallas Cowboys not far behind. Do like the Bengals a lot. As you can see, I'm a little bit lower on the Steelers. They're number 2. I don't buy that. They haven't done anything. I had them last week. They got me 2-2-5-5. They've been a top 12 team since week 1. Geno Smith should present the best opportunity they have to be that, but they're on the road. Oh, no, I guess they're home. I don't know. I don't trust them. Don't trust them. I cut them for the Colts this week, if that gives you any perspective. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Cardinals been solid all year. Cleveland's a pretty good offense, but I trust them. And then you're getting into Miami, a bad defense and a good matchup. I don't know. This is where, hopefully you can go get. I saw a lot of Colts, Cowboys out there, Bengals out there in almost every league. But if you need somebody here, I don't hate Minnesota to pick off Sam Darnold a time or two. I don't know that I hate the Raiders at Denver. I mean, those are your stream options. They're not great. Last but not least, the lowly kickers. Justin Tucker, always. Matt Gay, always. The Rams are a beast. Harrison Butker, always. Always my top 3, pretty consistently. Do love Greg the Leg a bit. I think, he's going to boot a bunch of them against Cowboys. I like Nick Folk as well. Routinely a top 10 kicker. They're going to need points. I wonder if that plays against him. Gregory Joseph, 17 last week. Carolina's been the fewest points allowed to kickers, but I don't put much stock in that. If you're looking for streamers here, I don't hate Boswell against Seattle at home. Carlson, I'm a little bit lower on. I love Rodrigo if he plays. This is kind of hovering in the middle, but if he's playing, he's right up here in the top 6 for me. That's all you need for kickers. Let's not get into here. I am number 11 in the Fantasy Pros accuracy competition at kickers, at least. Kind of sucking everywhere else. But at least I got kickers going for me, which is nice. All righty, guys. That's all I got for this week. Let me now pull in your questions. I don't know what's going on with that competition, by the way. I feel like I killed it last week, and I'm like 130th. I don't know. Oh, guys, 30 of you guys, if you don't mind, that thumbs up button helping us get out to more people would be so greatly appreciated. So please consider doing that, helping us find a bigger audience, sharing it out. Wolfpack would mean the world. Let's get to your questions now. Set starts, trades, whatever you have for me. Let's see. YouTube kind of fire here. Jose Sierra, Wolf, order these from week 6 best to worst. AB, Higgins, Deontay, Devonta. I'd rank them Deonta number 1, AB number 2, Devonta number 3, T. Higgins number 4. That's how I'd rank them. Fire Shanahan, says JT. Bold, but maybe not, unjustified. He's one of the most overrated coaches. I'm with you. Great offensive coordinator, overrated head coach. What up, Schneider? Traded Mike Evans today in my dynasty. Now I have Brady Evans stack. I love that. How could you not love that? It's touchdown city, baby. Ethan Pugh. Can I trust Mixon as top 12? Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. Before he got hurt, 90% of the carries. I don't think they're going to suddenly involve P. Ryan if he's fully healthy. So give me Mixon all day. Yeah, you can trust him. And you have Zeke and Chubb. I love it. You could trade him, though. I guess what you're saying there, Pugh, is you have the depth, but kind of like riding those 3 stallions. Start A-Rob or Marvin Jones? I'm going Marvin Jones, Martin. I can't start A-Rob till further notice. Let me see that first. Manny Sanders and Gainwell for Bobby Woods. Charlie, drinks on me tonight. Yeah. You're the trade you come in here with. I don't know how you pull them off, Charlie, but you're fucking slaying the trade game this year. No Toe. What's up, man? Tannehill or T-Law? And Bolden or Gainwell? I'd go T-Law. And then I'm guessing I know we were talking about this in the DMs. I'm guessing you didn't get either Booker or what's his name? Daryl Williams. So I'm going to go T-Law over Tannehill. I don't trust Tannehill at all. The hardest matchup for QBs, and he hasn't been that good anyways. But I think I'm going to go Gainwell on Thursday night just because they're going to need a throw. But is there anybody else out there? Those 2 options are not very inspiring. But I'd go Gainwell over Bolden if it's one or the other. Aaron Jones for CMC? Yes. Because we're getting more and more involvement from A.J. Dillon as it goes. I absolutely would do that trade. Still take Keenan Allen over Godwin? I don't know about that, Ethan. It's Mike Williams is really the number 1 show there. I could probably go Godwin over Keenan Allen. They're very close to the same tier. Trey Lance droppable. Jimmy G coming back? Yeah, he is, sadly. You know how high I am on the guy, and if and when he takes back over, I'd love to start him, but potentially. Cut the Wednesday stream. It's your favorite? Oh, that's good to know it's somebody's favorite out there, Matt. And it's the one you found me for. Okay. Maybe you've just convinced me, Matt, to keep it going. If you love this one, then I'm in. I'm happy you're here. So, sweet. And there's no, I need some breathing time, but I get that on the weekends too. It's more so it just doesn't seem like it's that popular of one. But if people love it, then all right. And Savvy. Pick 2 receivers, 2 flex. A.J. Brown, Gaskin, A.B., Sanders, Tony, Waddle, CD. You got some options here. I don't like A.J. Brown at all. I like A.B. I like Sanders. I like CD. So we got 3 of 4. From there, I think I go Gaskin against Jacksonville. If not him, I like Tony a lot too. Over A.J. Brown. Change the banner. I should have done that. Yes, good call. Thank you, Tunes. Sup, Wolf? Good to hear from you. With a good week from Gaskin, and I'm selling? Absolutely. But I think this is a good week to let him do it again because he gets Jacksonville, so he will do it. So definite sell. I'm with you. Damien Harris did not practice. Indeed, Tunes. But he did play in the game. He was in and out, so I think he's going to play. But if not, Ramondre would become very intriguing. Stash A.J. Dillon, adopt Singletary? Yes, Kevin. Absolutely. Like Singletary a little more usable, but not really. You only had 2 timeshare guys. Dillon's the one producing more and would be significantly more valuable if tragedy ever strikes. So yeah, absolutely. Samir, is it weird you see Mike? Yeah, it's definitely weird. It feels very weird because Keenan's been like locked in number 1 receiver there for 10 years, it seems. Mike Williams is taking over though. It's definitely the case, Denny. Yeah, it is weird to you, but that's how I see it. 909. Great to see you, brother. Start 1 and flex 1. PPR, Daryl Williams, Tony, Tim Patrick. Pittman's my favorite of the receivers. I think I'm going to flex Tony here. Let's see who's active for the wide receivers, but yeah, we'll see. Hey, that sucks, yeah. Rubbing it in, Tunes. Pittman looked like a monster. He really does. He is a target hog to the fullest. Thank you for the Allen Robinson, Michael Thomas. Yes, absolutely, Zach. Thanks for tuning in. I would sell Robinson for pretty much anything. So to get Thomas, who Winston has made wide receiver 1s out of many people throughout his career. It seems like they're finally letting him uncork it a bit. Oh, yeah. That is as good of a haul as you could ever expect for Robinson. I'd trade him for a bag of shit. A good one, but yeah, seriously. Traded Thielen, Mike Davis for Michael Thomas. I like that. 1 and 4 with close losses. Oh, tough. But let's hope Thomas is back ASAP for you because 1 and 4, you need your players to go. You got a good starters here. Like, that just sucks. I think you just had a case of bad luck, but you got time to turn it around. You got the players to turn it around. That's not a team I'm too worried about other than the record. Maybe you're just going to have bad luck all year. I don't know. Maybe they're just good fantasy defense, bad fantasy defense, but I think you can turn that around. 909. Hate having to choose, but Deontay over Henderson. Oh, full PPR, Charlie. I think I am. Love the target share. Love the matchup this week. I love Henderson, but give me Deontay. They're both very safe. I guess Deontay is the risk of like getting hurt in quarter 1, which we saw so much last year. But Henderson has that risk too. I think, people saying go Henderson. Henderson's safer in a little bit of a sense. I mean, 17 every single week. But I think Deontay's been 17 every game he's made it through too. So I'm big on Deontay. I always have been. So I'm a Deontay guy. I'm going Deontay, but that's where I would lean. You could go Henderson and it's not unjustifiable by any means, Charlie. Odell or Alma? I'm not trusting Odell. I'm not trusting that one. Nothing in a 42-point game. Exactly. You're making my point for me, Zephyrika. I'm with you. It's just Darnold. It's less about Odell. It's more about Darnold. Matt Feeney. 2 receivers, 1 flex. Scary Terry, Woods, Julio Jones, Zach Moss. I don't think Julio's playing, Matt, so that just eliminates it. And even if he was, I think I'd go the other 3 guys. So let's just not plan on him. Hillary Margaret. Wolf, help me out. Got Darnold and Burrow, and each time I play one, they stink. The other's on my bench. Sorry to hear it. You must have an idiot giving you the advice to who to play every week. I would go Burrow this week, though. Detroit, bad secondary. I don't trust Darnold coming off that awful game. Give me Burrow. If Taylor Heineke's out there, though, I have him over both of them, just as a heads up. I think it's clear between Moss and Julio for the flex, leaning towards Zach. Yeah, I would. Even if Julio plays, I'm going Zach there, Feeney. Sanders droppable. Pick up someone like Javonte. I'd rather have Javonte on my team than Sanders at this point. Yes. Not into Lat Murray, but Javonte, definitely. By trading Jonathan Taylor and Woods for Kamara, it's a pretty good haul. If you have the depth, though, yes. Like Kamara, I definitely have above Taylor. And Woods, I really like what I saw, but if you have like a receiver that slides and it's not too big of a drop-off, that becomes like Kamara and who is now starting for you to help me consider that. But it's not an unfair trade by any means if you have the depth, Zangora. So my one has Brait Ertz on waivers. Should I pick? Yeah, definitely. I think you meant to say opponent. Yeah. No, he just wrote that down there. All right, Denny. Block your one, Denny. Block the one. I think so, because I think Ertz scores. Yes. I would be blocking him if you have the bench trash to cut. Charlie, can I join your league? Yeah, trades like that. Exactly, right? Vopsy, sell high on Jay Chase? No. He's too damn good. I mean, depends how high, Because the efficient, like he's been so hyper efficient, but I think he's going to keep being hyper efficient because he's just so damn good. If you drop him, he's going to go off. Schedule gets easy. He's been crying like a baby. So squeaky wheel, grease coming. Schedule does get easy. All good reasons to keep him. But if it's him or Javonte, I'm going Javonte. But I do think he should be rostered. So I guess who can you count? You wish, Bud. I hope you got my message about streams. It's great to see you. I'm glad you're here. So maybe you did. Daryl Williams or Booker? Oh, you got both those guys, huh? I think I like Booker for a 1 week stream. Like I said, when he gets the volume, 15.5 fantasy points average. I think he's a safer bet than Daryl. They might get weird with, frickin' McKinnon. Like, I think Mahomes is just going to have himself a feast too. So I like Booker a little bit more. Gesicki, Jay Williams, Gainwell, pick one. Is it Javonte or Jamal Williams, Tunes? You know better. You got to clarify that thing. If it's Javonte, it's him. If it's Jamal, then I'm going Gesicki with the full PPR. Diggs or Mike Willie, full PPR rest of the season. Oh, it's Diggs for me, J Ray. Like I get the Mike Will love, but give me Diggs there all day. Woods or Henderson at flex. I'm going Henderson. Safe 17. I'd like to see. I love getting Woods in there. I mean, 14 targets is 14 targets last week, but Henderson 17 points every single game this year. Love that consistency. John, I just answered that like 2 seconds ago. How'd you miss it? Where'd you go? Be honest, did you take a dump? What's going on, John? I would do that if you had the depth. What I asked was, you trade away Woods, who's your next receiver up? So it becomes Kamara and who is starting. But I like that trade as a whole. So I would probably do that. Love to see the receiving uptick this week for Kamara, the highest rushing workloads of the entire career so far this year. And then you get Mike Thomas back. I don't think that's going to be a negative. Maybe eats into his targets a little bit, but better offense, more scoring chances. I like Kamara, definitely. So it becomes, who's your next man up after you get rid of Woods. So yeah, Tunes, I go Gesicki there. Would you trade OBJ and A-Rob for LaVisca? And all of them suck, Rice. Why do we want any of them? No. They all suck. I would rather have OBJ and A-Rob and hope one of them gets traded. You got Diggs and Devontae Adams, so you only start 2 receivers from there? Because clearly you don't need Woods at that point. So yeah, definitely do that drill. Johnny Zangora. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you again so much. You can find my rankings at RoastRejournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves, as well as our trade chart, buy low, sell high, all the good stuff. Get on over there. You can also find it in your iOS app and our podcast, Fantasy Fullback Dive. We pave your path to 2021 titles. And if you liked what you heard, hit that like button. Help us get out to more people. Hit that sub. Hit the bell so you know when we're live. We can answer all your questions as we always do. We'll be live with the truth tomorrow for our Thursday night football kickoff. Getting ready for Tommy Brady. I always like to put a couple extra back for Tommy. So it's been a while since we have one of those Danny Jennings knows what I'm talking about, those drunk Thursday nights. Maybe we'll get one this week. We'll see. But thanks again, guys, for being here. And we're all full of fancy sheep. Be the wolf. Later, guys.